Aloha, my name is Seale, and I'm an assistant research professor with the Department of Human Nutrition, Food and Animal Sciences in the College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. The University of Hawaii Seagrant College Program, otherwise known as Hawai'i Seagrant, is based at the University of Hawaii at Manoa in Honolulu, Hawaii. Hawai'i Seagrant supports an innovative program of research, education, and extension services directed to the improved understanding and stewardship of coastal and marine resources of the state, region, and nation. Hawai'i Seagrant Podcast Number 9, Fish Stress Out 2.
Aloha, and welcome to our 321 podcast. My name is Mahealani.
This is Rachel.
This is Andre.
And I'm Fritzie.
And we are part of Hawai'i Seagrant and the University of Hawaii located in Honolulu, Hawaii.
This podcast features research supported by Hawai'i Seagrant. Each episode will highlight a new project and the people that make that project possible.
We will ask these researchers for 3 words that describe their research, give them 2 minutes to explain how their research benefits communities here in Hawaii, and end by asking them to provide one thing they know about each other than their research. So 3 words, 2 minutes, and 1 thing. It's a 321 podcast.
Can you believe how fast the holiday season is approaching?
Ah, yes, the holiday hustle and bustle.
Oy.
It can be stressful.
And costly.
I think it is safe to say that every living thing is vulnerable to stress.
From the holidays? I sympathize with that.
Well, maybe not the holidays, but the environment could make a difference.
We see this in the fish we study.
Really? Stressed fish, huh? All right, what are 3 words that describe your research?
Fish, physiology, environment.
Let's start with fish. Why did you say fish?
Well, fish is a good model, and it's a good model in the same sense as mice are good models to study some diseases. Fish are good models in the aquatic environment to understand how the environment affects physiology.
Right, because fish live in water, right?
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right. What about physiology?
So physiology is the study of normal bodily functions. So there are processes in the body that control growth, reproduction, osmoregulation, or salt and water balance. These are parts of the physiology of the fish.
And environment.
Environment, because fish are exposed to changes in the environment such as temperature, salinity, and also pollution that can affect their bodily functions.
We're learning about fish in this podcast, specifically fish biology, and how environmental conditions that fish live in affect fish health. Here to share their research are Dr. Seale and his research specialist, Fritzie Brady.
Before we ask you how your research benefits communities here in Hawaii, let's talk about a few scientific words. 3 words that you use a lot in your research are endocrine, osmoregulation, and tilapia. Can you provide an explanation of these words?
Well, endocrine refers to the endocrine system, which is basically the hormones. And hormones are chemical messengers. They're small chemical molecules in your body that communicate between organs. So when there's a change in the environment, hormones tell your body to communicate to the organs to do certain functions. Osmoregulation is essentially salt and water balance. So the concentration of salt in the blood is tightly controlled, like we control temperature. We also need to control how much salt and water is in our body.
Tilapia is the second most important aquaculture fish in the world, and it is being cultured in Hawaii. Aside from its importance in aquaculture, it is also a good model to study the effects of environmental changes, and they can either live in freshwater or seawater.
The species that we use is the Mozambique tilapia, and that species in particular can tolerate seawater and it's found in estuaries and regions near the coast that are characterized by these changes in salinity.
So tell us in 2 minutes or less how your research benefits the communities here in Hawaii.
So understanding the physiology of the fish and how it's affected by the environment gives us a handle on how to rear them, on knowing how the environmental conditions in the water, such as salinity and temperature and pollutants, can affect how these fish are raised. So for all of those who have an interest in aquaculture or rearing fish, this information provides an additional layer of ways in which to maximize production or prevent diseases or stress in fish. But it's also used in an indicator species.
There are several factors in the environment that can affect fish, such as temperature, salinity, and also pollutants. In our research, we focus on the effects of these chemical pollutants on fish. In Hawaii, there are no studies yet on the effects of these chemical pollutants on warm water fish. And this could help inform folks that are interested in rearing of fish to assess the effect of these levels of these chemicals in the environment on the health of fish, and also help government agencies to assess the effects of these chemicals in fish.
Let's recap. When asked to provide 3 words that describe your research, you said fish, physiology, and environment. You provided definitions for 3 scientific words that are commonly used in your research. These words were endocrine, osmoregulation, and tilapia. We've learned about your research and how your research will help communities here in Hawaii. So let's get technical. How do you do your research? How do you study hormone changes in fish?
Well, to study hormone changes in fish, we first need to conduct a controlled experiment. So we have the fish in different tanks with different conditions. So we have the control fish, which are basically fish that are not exposed to any chemical or any alterations in the environment. And then you have other tanks, which are treatment tanks, that have the different concentrations of the pollutants that we're trying to test. And then we collect these fish after a certain period of time, and we take samples of blood and other tissues. And with the blood, we measure the hormones through a radioimmunoassay and through gene expression. So we look at the genes that basically code for those aspects of the physiology that control growth, reproduction, and salt and water balance.
Well, that's a wrap. But before we go, we want to ask you, Andre, what do you know about Fritzie other than her research?
I know Fritzie does not like to eat raw fish.
But no raw fish at all. So no
No
poke,
raw fish.
no sashimi, no sushi.
No, as long as it's raw, I can eat it.
But you eat fish. Cooked
Yes.
fish.
I cook and eat fish, and I love fish, but I can just eat him raw.
And Fritzie, what's one thing you know about Andre besides his research?
Oh, Andre is an excellent underwater photographer, and
yeah?
he even published a book on underwater photography.
Oh, nice. I'll have to look for that.
Yeah. You should sign some for us. You're like, thank you, seagrant. Just kidding.
Sure. Anytime.
Well, stay tuned for our next podcast, and mahalo for listening. Aloha.
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 Aloha!
This Hawai'i Sea Grant 321 podcast featured 3 songs. Happiness by bensound.com, Ukulele by bensound.com, and Cute by bensound.com. Find it on iTunes or bensound.com.